Oh, hi there, John Neal here again, and this is vlog number 3 on today, which is the 26th of July 2018. Well, I'm sort of back to normal now. There are some things I think we need to talk about because they're pretty serious. The number of people who die of certain sorts of cancers are quite numerous, and one of them is colon cancer. In fact, my nephew died at the age 40 having had colon cancer, and there was always some sort of embarrassment about chasing up the effects or the symptoms of colon cancer. Well, without going into too much gruesome detail, last year I went for 1 or 2 colonoscopies, which means a camera on a stick, and they put it up your rear end. It's all fine stuff. They do it very well. It's a brand new department in our local hospital, which, by the way, is funded by the NHS, the National Health Service, here in England and UK. And it's essentially, it's free to anybody. It's free at the point of delivery. So we all pay for it, of course, but you can go for any number of operations, a heart transplant if you want, if needed one, and it doesn't cost you directly. Everybody pays into the system. Of course, the system has its problems, as anyone does, because it gets more and more complicated. But this system, which was set up just after the Second World War, I would say is the pride of our nation, and a great example in the world of how you can have a health system working, and it's generally fantastic. Anyway, yesterday I had a follow-up, a checkup, and I'm just back to normal again now. So everything's fine, and I don't have to go back now for another 5 years, which is pretty good. But if you have any problems in that direction, I'd get them checked out. It's important to do it. Men and women of all ages, but particularly older. There's also older people. There's a certain number of things that indicate you have some problems. Bleeding being one of them. And yeah, if there's anything like that, get it checked out because it's important. It's caught early, that sort of problem can be dealt with pretty quickly. It's worth saying, don't ignore these things. Then it's always slightly odd when you enter these areas of the National Health and the medics and so on. They use the word fluid. You must drink plenty of fluids. Now, when I was at school, fluid meant either a liquid or a gas. They're both fluid, they all move around. So why all of a sudden fluid means liquid only, I'm not sure. I have a friend who's a doctor, and he very amusingly said, the reason being, he says, we're all just stupid and we got it wrong. I thought, well, fair enough, that's a good admission, but everybody uses fluid now as when they actually mean liquid. I don't mind, the language does change, that's true. While I'm on it, there's another one, which is so. People start all responses on the radio, and these are intelligent people on sensible radio programs, and on the TV, of course. They'll start an answer with so. Now, so surely refers back to a connection with the previous comment. You know, I've drunk a lot of salt, so I'm going to be sick. You know, it's a follow-on. You don't say, oh, how does this work? So it does this, this and this. You don't need to say so. But oddly enough, what's happening is so many people are saying so. Just listen. And once you've, sorry about this, but as soon as you hear it, it seems to keep cropping up. And then it gets all the more annoying because everybody seems to be saying so all the time. So stop doing that. You're a professor or you're a PhD person and you're saying so all the time. It's a bit strange and a little bit annoying, I have to say. What else we got? I'm quite feeling quite healthy at the moment. I've just been on holiday. Somewhere nice, my friend said. I said, yes, funny enough, it was somewhere nice. I chose to go somewhere nice. I was going to go on a tour of the slag heaps of Smethwick, but no, I chose Italy and went to a lake in northern Italy. Very nice too. Which, by the way, I never put on Facebook. I'll put one or two bits and pieces on Facebook afterwards. Don't quite see the sense in telling all your friends and anybody else on Facebook that you're not at home. Doesn't seem to work. Not a clever idea. So I never tell people while I'm away, oh, I'm in the airport about to fly to Italy for a week. You might as well just say, oh, by the way, everybody, my home, you'll find it, I'm sure. It's empty for a week. Nuts. I wouldn't do it. Anyway, some people do. SATNAV. Don't you love SATNAV? On my phone, I think I've got 4 or 5 different SATNAVs. And if I ask for a direction on the phone, just shout it out, it'll go. It'll find the place, it'll put it up on the SATNAV for me. It's dead easy to use. And absolutely revolutionised, I think, driving around and finding places. So I'm much amused when people don't seem to have cottoned on to the digital age. I heard somebody on the radio the other day say, oh, I can't do that, I'm 65, I'm not in my 20s, why should I do it digitally or look on the internet for something? He said it as if it was some magical, mysterious thing to go digital, and he was totally incapable of it. It sort of gets my goat, that, because it's quite straightforward. Just try and keep up with it. There's no reason why you've got to stick in the mud and say, no, I can't do it at all. Admittedly, some very old folk have never come across computers and other digital stuff, and they find it tricky to keep up to speed. But to be honest, when it comes to SATNAVs though, if you ask somebody a direction, they say, oh yes, come round to so-and-so. Now then, it's, you know, the road out of town with the roundabout, there's a pub on the right called the Dog and Whistle or something. And I'm thinking, right, I'm not going to listen to any of these instructions. And they say, oh yeah, you go down the road and turn left and on the right and then left and right. And I thought, just forget it. I'm not listening to any of this. I never take any of it in. Just tell me your address. I'll put it in the SATNAV. But they haven't got that in their heads. They've got to go through this long process of giving the directions to somewhere, which is so old-fashioned in a way. And they say, oh, well, I've got a map. I said, well, great, I like maps. I'm fond of maps. The only trouble is, you've got to sort of keep picking the map up if you're driving, which you can't do, of course. And or the map is always of a certain size. Now, I will look on a map just to see what the total distance is or the overall view of the journey I've got to make. That's fine. But then just leave it to the SATNAV to tell you where to go. It's much safer, it's easier and less stressful. In the past, it was so difficult to try and find places. You're trying to follow instructions or open maps out. It really was a bit of a nightmare. And anybody that doesn't pick up on this, and I've had conversations where people have been a bit awkward about it. I don't know why. It just really amuses me that people are still giving directions. When you say, look, give me your postcode and address, I'll be there. Simple. What else we got? The word past. Sadly, if somebody dies, then the word to use, of course, nowadays, it seems to be, is past. They have passed away. Passed away is, they'll just say, oh, he passed last year. My granddad passed last year. And I thought, why don't you just say he died? I don't know what's the avoidance of the word died. I suppose it's a lot to do with the fact that people just want to slightly avoid the word dead. Somebody died, they are now dead. It's sort of a finality about it rather than past. I mean, there are lots of other ways of expressing this according to how you feel and what you might believe. I think one wonderful one was somebody said that they'd been promoted. My granddad died last week and he's now been promoted or has gone to a better place, or that sort of vocabulary, which is absolutely fine. But to say that they are past, I don't know, it just seems to be a little bit odd to me. It's a bit like if you're in a race and say, oh look, my uncle's running in this race, and look, my uncle's just passed. No, what, has he died? No, he's just run a race and he's just run past me. Past. I don't know. I think we do tend to use odd words for things which are embarrassing. For instance, you've got in England, in Britain, we have a toilet, sometimes called a loo, or the WC, or the boys' room, the smallest room. There's lots of words for this embarrassing place, which is the toilet, where one does toilet things. In America, they call it the bathroom. But there's no bath in my bathroom. And in fact, some houses don't even have baths, they have showers. So why do you call it the bathroom? We contrive these other words to use for things which are slightly embarrassing, which I think is a little bit amusing. And we just go along with it, and we don't call out and say, what are you doing, silly words, what are you talking about? If a toilet's a toilet, let's call it a toilet. And don't go up with these funny words which mean other things. And finally, let me just say, the older one gets, I admit that I forget things. The one thing I do forget, and this is, I can see this coming each time, is the names of, let's say, famous people. Say, oh, you know that program, that TV program that so and so was in, and then I think I can see his face, or I can see her face, and I just cannot remember the name for the life of me. And the more you focus on trying to remember the name of the person that you're talking about, and then when it comes to me, and you think, well, that's their first name, like James Bond or Hugh Grant, or actually I can't even remember the names now of the people I'm trying to think of. The more I focus on it, the worse it gets. And in fact, you have to sort of forget all about it. Then all of a sudden, oh, I remember that name now. It really is a strange thing to have happen. I can't remember it being like that in the past. However, there might be some advantages to forgetting things. One is that if you watch a film with a complex plot, and that's the worst for me, I can't follow complicated plots, particularly if they jump backwards and forwards in time. I don't know where I am. If I do follow the plot, then invariably I'll watch the film and then I'll forget what the plot was. So and that's a good word, you can say so then, you see if it connects to. What happens then is I watch the film again and I can't actually remember what the end of the film is. I can't remember the storyline. So I can actually watch films or TV dramas and think, I'll watch this again, I don't mind. I can't remember who murdered who, or what happened in the end. So there's an advantage sometimes to forgetting things. But yeah, got to try and keep the grey matter moving anyway. That's it. I've no more. That was quite quick. Funny enough, I've got quite a list here, about 6 things. Thank you for watching this vlog. Please comment below if you've anything to say, or if you'd like any subjects or comment on any of the subjects I brought up, please do. That'd be absolutely fine. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Just lately I've been under a cloud. I'm hanging my head, it's under a shroud. I'm feeling lonely, I know you are too. But now I know what I wanna do. I'm gonna put my white boots on and dance in front of everyone. My white boots will do their thing, and you'll see me dance and you'll hear me sing, whoa, whoa.